Hey everyone, today we are going to be talking about converting customary units of measurement or dimensional analysis. The customary units of measurement are things like feet, inches, yards, miles, fluid ounces, cups, pints, quarts, and gallons, seconds, minutes, hours, days, and weeks, and then pounds, ounces, and tons. As of right now, the United States is the only country in the world that uses the customary units. Everybody else is in the metric system. So we just like to be difficult in that way, I guess. So in order to convert customary units, we use what are called unit rates. And a unit rate is a ratio in which the first quantity is compared to 1 unit of the second quantity. So the first number in the ratio is going to be whatever the conversion factor is compared to 1 unit of the thing that you're trying to get to. So my examples of unit ratios are inches to feet. So there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Feet to yards is 3 to 1. So we're comparing to 1 yard, and then feet to miles. 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So this first question here says, what unit ratio can you use to represent the relationship between ounces and pounds? Ounces to pounds, excuse me, is 16 to 1. What unit ratio can you use to represent the relationship between pints and quarts? There are, so pints to quarts, and we would say there are 2 pints to 1 quart. What ratio can you use to represent the relationship between seconds and minutes? So I'm going to do seconds to minutes, and that's going to be 60 to 1. So in a unit ratio, that second number needs to be a 1. Okay? And in order to convert customary units, you have to choose the correct unit ratio in order to find that new value. And we are going to be using ratio tables to help us convert our customary units. So we're going to take the idea of ratio tables and then apply them to customary unit conversions. So we're going to start with some one-step conversions. One-step conversions mean that you're going to use one ratio table. When we do two-step conversions, that's going to use 2 ratio tables. And then if we do ones that include more than 2 conversions, we're going to use whatever number of tables we need. So number 1 says how many cups are in 6 pints, and we're going to use a ratio table to solve. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my 2 units. So I'm trying to go from cups, or from pints to cups. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to say, okay, how are cups and pints connected? Well, if I look at the table up here, cups and pints are connected because there are 2 cups in 1 pint. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say 2 cups equals 1 pint. That's the unit rate or unit ratio that I am using to help me solve this problem. So now I'm going to create a ratio table. And I'm going to put cups and pints in my ratio table. The order that you put these in the table does not matter, okay? And the reason why it doesn't matter is as long as we put the correct units in the correct place, the multiplication is going to work itself out. So I'm going to do 2 cups to 1 pint because that's what my ratio says, that there is 2 cups to 1 pint. And then I'm going to take this number and I'm going to make sure that I put it in the correct place. This has 6 pints, so I'm going to put it in the pints part of the table. And now I can use the ratio table like we've been using it this whole time. How did I get from 1 to 6 using multiplication? So I'm going to make an equivalent ratio. So here I'm going to multiply by 6. If I do it on the bottom, I must also do it on the top, and 2 times 6 is 12. And that means that there are 12 cups. Okay, so that's a liquid conversion. So if we're measuring a liquid, an amount of liquid, and I have 6 pints of it, that would equal 12 cups of the same liquid. Number 2 says how many quarts are in 2 gallons. I'm going to tell you that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. That is going to be my unit ratio. So I'm going to create a ratio table. So these are my 2 units, quarts and gallons, and I know that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So I've got quarts and gallons, and again, the order of those 2 things does not matter as long as we associate the correct values in the right spot. So there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon, and I've got 2 gallons. So I'm going to multiply by 2, and I get 8 quarts. Number 3 says how many yards are in 57 feet. So I'm looking for how yards and feet are connected. There are 3 feet in 1 yard. So when I create my ratio table, I'm going to have feet and yards. So there's 3 feet in 1 yard. And I've got 57 feet. So 57 feet goes here. At this point, I can either know the multiples here or I can use my multiplication chart. So what am I going to multiply by to get from 3 to 57? It's going to be 19. So 1 times 19 is 19. And I've got 19 yards. So here's my answer on this one. Here's my answer on this one. And here's my answer on this one. Okay, one more one-step conversion. So it says how many hours are in 240 minutes. So I'm looking for how hours and minutes are connected. Well, there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So when I create my ratio table, I've got minutes and hours, and there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And I want to know how many hours are in 240 minutes. To get from 60 to 240, I'm going to multiply by 4 because 6 times 4 is 24. Then I'm going to multiply by 4 on the bottom, and I get 4. So this is going to be 4 hours. Okay. So these ratio tables are how I'm going to show my work. In these dimensional analysis situations, you are going to be given all of this information always. So you're always going to have these. We're not taking them away from you. All of this information right here will be given to you all the time. You will always have these as you are working. I typically have them posted on the board while we are working on this dimensional analysis, but as you work with them, you may come to realize that you have a lot more memorized than you think, just from hearing them over and over and over again. The most important thing in dimensional analysis is that you are connecting the 2 appropriate units together. So cups and pints, quarts and gallons, pints and quarts. We did not do any ounces and pounds or tons. So just making sure that you're associating the correct units with each other in that unit ratio. So 1 unit compared to 1 of another unit. And then as you put them in your ratio table, making sure that you're lining up the units correctly. We are going to have a worksheet on one-step conversions today, and then we are going to continue with this and do some 2 and 2+ step conversions tomorrow.